Welcome back, MTN Nets podcast. I was not planning on making one tonight, but after this loss for my pro tanking people out there like myself, this was tremendous. We came into this game, the Nets were favored by maybe 6.5 points, which isn't a ton, but the Hornets had a bunch of phantom injuries out there. Nurkic had neck soreness, LaMelo Ball, right ankle injury management, Trey Mann with a disc injury. He's been out a lot, so that might be legit. Brandon Miller's out for the year. Okogie hamstring, okay. Mark Williams, left foot management. Okay. And the Nets had this game wrapped up. I'm trying to see like the play-by-play and what the score was at one point because the Nets had this game wrapped up. They had a 95% chance to win at one point when it was 58-41. They had a 97% chance at the end with 7 minutes to go. They were up by 11 points. They then had a 95% chance, up 102-93 with 4 minutes to go. That was when Cam Thomas got doubled. He kicked out that nice pass to Zaire Williams. He made a three. I thought for sure it was over. There were plenty of times during this game where I just looked at the score because I wasn't watching closely, and for the first 3 quarters, I was not watching at all. I was actually at a party, which is why I'm like shockingly dressed up right now. But when I came home, I tuned in with about 6 minutes to go. Nets were up by 8-10 points. I saw D'Angelo Russell make a couple of 3-pointers in a row. I thought, all right, that's probably it. But somehow the Hornets kept chipping away. The Nets kept missing shots, turning the ball over. Diabate made that layup with 1 minute, 30 seconds to go to give the Hornets their first lead since it was like 4-3. And there were some questionable Nets possessions offensively at the end. There was the missed 3 by Keon Johnson. Keon got his own rebounds. Zaire Williams missed a corner 3. I feel like he makes that more times than not, but luckily for us, he missed that one. Then there was the Cam Thomas pull-up 3 with about 32 seconds to go. He was going for a 2-for-1. Brooklyn was down by 1 point, but Cam Thomas from the right wing does a sidestep 3, back rims it, rebounded by the Hornets. And then with 4 seconds to go, Cam Thomas goes for a floater to take the lead with under 5 seconds to go. And I just saw a screenshot from Eric Slater's Twitter. I didn't notice this live, and I guess Cam Thomas didn't either, unless he just wanted to be the hero, which maybe he did. There was a wide open Trendon Watford under the basket, which would have been an easy alley-oop or an easy layup, but Cam Thomas did not go for him, I don't think. Maybe he would have because we did not see the full shot because it was blocked by Miles Bridges. So he gets blocked. The Nets wasted their 2 timeouts remaining right before that possession, and the Hornets made both free throws, and Trendon Watford actually almost made that last second 3-pointer from 35 feet out. He hit the back rim. I was like, damn, that was really close, but the Nets with a big loss go to 21-42. Last time I talked to you guys, they were on that annoying win streak where they won 7 out of 9 games. It was the 105-103 win, the Claxton game winner. But ever since that moment, which was February 22nd, it's now March 8th, the Nets have not won a game. They have lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games in a row. And coming into today, I thought this was an automatic win. But somehow with even all these phantom injuries on the Hornets, the Nets found a way to lose this game, which I would say for the pro tankers, this has to be the best loss of the year because our opponent was trying to do everything in their power to lose this game. The Nets, to their credit, they sat Cam Johnson with some type of injury management. I think it was like a knee soreness thing. Obviously, he could have played, I'm sure, but the Hornets went all out. The only player they really played that is a good player is Miles Bridges. I mean, Diabate is I never once heard of that Damian Ball guy. I mean, he made some plays at the end. I mean, Josh Green we knew about. He had no points today. Nick Smith Jr., I mean, he's all right. But for these guys to beat the Nets, it's pretty embarrassing for the Nets, but obviously, like somebody that knows how important these losses are, I'll take it because although they are losses, they will hopefully lead to a high-end player in the draft. So basically, these short-term losses will hopefully lead to winning in the long term. And looking at the Wizards-Raptors right now, which if the Raptors win, the Nets have sole possession of the 5th worst record in the NBA. Somehow they're down by 4 at halftime, so I don't love seeing that. But even then, the Raptors have such an easy schedule the next like 5 or 6 games. I'm not really too concerned. I think Toronto will end the year with a better record than the Nets. My only concern is Philly, because Philly, with Maxey, he's been out for a few games now. Paul George has this groin injury they keep talking about. I don't even know if it's a real thing, but not like Paul George is having a great year anyway. Of course, Embiid's done for the year. I still have my concerns about Philly passing the Nets, but I do know Philly plays the Jazz tomorrow, so I would think they can win that game. The Philly's next 3 games are actually 5 games here. They play Utah, Atlanta, Toronto, Indiana, and at Dallas. Dallas, ever since the Kyrie injury, they are so bad. I think really the Sixers can still beat them. And it sucks for Brooklyn because we play Dallas 2 more times this year. I thought at first that Anthony Davis would be back by then, but with Kyrie being out now for the year, they really have no reason to rush back Davis, so the Nets might get a win or 2 against the Mavericks, which sucks. But looking at it from the short term, the Nets play the Lakers, the Cavs, the Bulls in Chicago, Celtics, which is a game I'll be at, first game this year for me. Then they're home versus Atlanta, at Boston, at Indiana on a back-to-back, so at Indiana on a Thursday, at Indiana on a Saturday, hosting Dallas, which once again, that looked tough at one point, now it's not. Home versus Toronto. I still think Toronto's better. They could, of course, sit their guys and do what's best for the tank, but that's, it's a wait and see. But ultimately, I don't see too many easy wins on this schedule for Brooklyn. There's a game versus the Pelicans. It's the 4th to last game of the year. And right now the Pelicans are 4 games over the Nets, so I'm not really sure that's going to matter. But maybe if New Orleans goes on a win streak here and the Nets keep losing, that game might mean something for draft position. But I don't know. It's 4 games is a lot at this point in the year. This was a big D'Angelo Russell game tonight. He was 4 of 11 from 3, but 10 of 18 overall, 28 points. He was a +9. I saw some Cam Thomas stuff I didn't like. He was taking some ill-advised shots. He was 1 of 8 from 3. I mentioned that on the final shot he took, there was a chance to pass that to Watford for an easy layup. There was the 3-pointer that he took to get a 2-for-1, which if that goes in, you're not saying anything about it. It's one of those things where if he misses, it's like, oh, we could look back on that and say it's probably not a good shot. But there's been some good Cam Thomas stuff. He had a bunch of assists the other night. I forget what the number was, but he had that weird quote about his assist numbers being up, and it's like, well, guys are just making their shots now, which I'm not really sure if that's the case. I feel like Cam Thomas, ever since last year, showed development in passing the ball and making the correct pass. He still isn't great at it, but it's been better. But I feel like to kind of call out your teammates in a way, it was weird. So I'm not really sure about that whole Cam Thomas quote. Claxton wasn't really great from a box score standpoint. Zaire Williams was 4 of 9 from 3. He missed that big one at the end, but he did make that one to go up 9 with like 4 minutes to go, which I thought was, that was pretty much a dagger in my mind. Trendon Watford had 12 off the bench. That's good to see. And I didn't notice this, but Noah Clowney came back tonight. I had no idea. I did not even see a report that he was back, but he was back. He was 0 of 5 in 18 minutes. He had no points, so that's a shame. Maxwell Lewis did not play, coach's DMP. I wish they'd play him more. I wish they would play Whitehead more. I don't know why they're playing Russell at this point. It makes no sense. At least they sat Cam Johnson. That was responsible. But if the Nets had won this game and D'Angelo Russell was the main reason for it when he had 28 points and played really well tonight, I would have been pissed. I would have been like, once again, why trade for D'Angelo Russell? It makes no sense for a team whose motive should be to lose, but in the end, the Hornets got it done anyway. So this Nets season, which once again has been frustrating, a lot of ebbs and flows where like they would randomly win a bunch of games in a row or go on a nice 7 out of 9 stretch, or what was it, 9 out of 11 stretch, whatever they had a couple weeks ago. As long as they reach the end goal of being in the top 5 of the draft, which right now they are 5th, and of course it depends on the lottery, but you do want to get yourself in position to be picking as high as possible. And by moving to 5th, they have now a 9.8% chance at the first overall pick. If they were back in 7th, they would have a 7.5% chance at it. They have an 8% increase for a top 4 pick. If they were where Philly is, which is 7th, they would have a 32% chance or 31% chance. Now they have a 39 or a 40% chance of getting a top 4 pick. So like these slots in the draft, like they're, in the draft lottery, I should say, they're impactful. That could be the difference between getting an Ace Bailey, a Cooper Flagg, a Dylan Harper, or getting a Kneppel or Malawak or someone like that, which I do like Malawak, but I do want one of those top 3 guys, obviously. I love Edgecombe, as I said before. Trey Johnson would be nice, but, still, I do want one of these top 3 players. That would be ideal. And the Nets, if they keep losing these games, and I don't know if the draft's rigged, I have no idea, but the Nets, at least, they've been losing these games ethically. You have teams like the Hornets tonight who sit pretty much all their good players, but the Nets really don't do that. I wish they would. I would love the Nets to, blatantly tank more. They don't do it. They've been blowing a lot of leads. They got out to a 27-5 lead versus the Warriors on Thursday. They somehow blow that game. Steph Curry, a tremendous second quarter. Fourth quarter, he had that half-court shot before halftime, which I still can't get over that. So there's now 19 games left in this season, and if they can go 7-12 maybe or something, like I would say maybe even worse, maybe like 6-13. So I think 6-13 or 5-14. That would be very ideal for me. I think if they can get in that area, they will probably have top 5 odds. Now, of course, once again, it depends what the lottery says. I hope the Nets, once again, the basketball gods for once in my lifetime can bless this team, because usually it's the opposite. Whether it was not getting John Wall, the big three imploding in stupid ways. Just give me this one time, please. Like, I think the the basketball gods owe us one here. It would be nice to get Cooper Flag. So anyway, yeah, I don't see the Nets getting higher than 5. I think 5 would be the ceiling. Once again, it would take the Pelicans winning a lot of games towards the end of this season. I don't see why their organization would want that. I mean, I don't even think Zion plays on back-to-back nights. So I don't see it. The Nets, of course, can lose the one head-to-head matchup with New Orleans, which would help, but it's still a long shot. And yeah, the Nets still have winnable games. I mentioned Chicago. I mentioned Atlanta. They have Dallas in 2 games, Toronto, Washington, Toronto again, Atlanta, New Orleans, like maybe the final game of the year. The Knicks have nothing to play for. They might bench all their guys. I mean, so there's still possible wins out there. But ultimately, once again, I think the Raptors do end up winning a lot of games coming up here. Their schedule, it's tonight Washington, another Washington game, 76ers, Jazz, Portland, Phoenix, Golden State, San Antonio, Washington, Brooklyn, Charlotte, Philly, Chicago, Portland, Detroit might be the toughest team on this schedule, maybe Golden State, Brooklyn, Charlotte, Dallas again, and San Antonio. Like, they have such an easy schedule. I do think there's a good chance that the Raptors end with 30-plus wins. I don't see the Nets getting there. So now I think that the Nets' lowest point they can get is 6, and the highest they can get is 5. So I think we're pretty much right where we want to be, right where we need to be. I would love to be in the top 3 or even number 1. But catching Washington, Utah, Charlotte, it was pretty, you just can't really plan for that. Like, they're so bad. I feel like having a coach like Jordi Fernandez, you can't really win 18 games with that guy. You'd have to have me out there or something. Like, you just can't do that. There's still enough NBA level talent on this team where they're not going to win 18 games with a coach who gets the most out of his guys effort-wise. Now, skill-wise, they do blow games, and we saw it tonight, we saw it Thursday, we saw it versus the Thunder a week and a half ago. They will get out to these big leads, and they'll blow these games, and there was that one in Washington a couple weeks ago where they had that maybe 8-point lead in the third quarter. They blew that game in Washington, which I don't know how they did it. So anyway, it was a thrilling loss, and I tried not getting my hopes up. I was pretty much watching the game with no expectations, and I just kept telling myself, they're going to win. Mike, they're going to win. Don't get your hopes up. And then they somehow lost. It was great. So the tank is moving in the right direction. They really have a chance here to lose a bunch in a row. So I mentioned they've lost 7 in a row right now. I don't know if they can beat the Lakers. I don't think they can beat Cleveland. Chicago, maybe. Boston's probably an L. So I think they can lose 11 games in a row here. It could be more. So we're going to see how this gets. The Nets have a real chance here to start boosting up the tankathon standings. I do want to check the Pelicans just for the hell of it. Their schedule seems a bit tougher. Houston, Memphis, Clippers, Orlando, San Antonio, Detroit, Minnesota back-to-back, Detroit, Philly, Golden State, Charlotte, Clippers, Lakers, Bucks, Nets, Bucks, Heat, OKC. I don't see the Pelicans being worse than us. I don't see it. If it happens, that's fantastic, but I really think the Nets will finish somewhere between 5 and 6 for worst record in the NBA. So over these final 19 games, I just want to see young guys play well. I want to see Zaire Williams keep up the shooting. I want to see Nick Claxton improve on that jump shot, which we see once in a while. I want to see the Cam Thomas turnovers down. I want to see him make his shots, make the right pass. I don't really want to see D'Lo or Cam Johnson touch the floor anymore. They're around my age. They're washed. Not washed, but they're not. We know who they are. They're not getting much better. So, Trendon Watford, I want to see him play better. Jalen Wilson, he's been looking a little better lately. It was really bad at one point. Day'Ron Sharpe, I mean, so inconsistent. He made a corner three tonight. He looked good at some points, but there's some games where Day'Ron looks so freaking amazing, and some games where he just does not belong in the NBA. So I just want to see Day'Ron get more consistent. So we'll see. I don't know when the next video will be, but I just hope these losses keep on coming. Hopefully when I go to the game next Saturday, it's an enjoyable experience. And yeah, that's all I got. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys next time.